Hello, everybody. It's Wednesday. It is 8 o'clock, and we are back for another live session. We're continuing on from last week when we were talking imposter syndrome. This week, we're looking at how to address that imposter syndrome. So, just want to give a little intro as ever, chat a little bit about how things are going, give you a few minutes to get on the live if you are around. I think people are still very much on holiday. Certainly in the UK, it's sort of the very end of summer holidays now. Kids are beginning to go back to school, and I certainly feel like I'm getting into that back to school season. Even though I don't have kids, I'm not a child. I'm very much rooted in that seasonality. So I've come back from holiday myself in the last few weeks, and I've had a really good, productive week actually. So Monday was a bank holiday here in the UK, and I had planned to take it completely off. But then I didn't really have any plans, so I thought actually I'm going to work. And then in an exciting twist of events, I ended up actually being really tired, and I just didn't have the energy for most of the day. So I ended up doing some sort of fun little bits here and there that were productive, but not necessarily the big building blocks that I could have focused on. But since it was a holiday, it was a day that I'd planned to take off, I felt justified in doing that. Good news is yesterday and today I've been super productive and really been moving forwards. So exciting news today as well. I started actually tinkering with the book page on Amazon, which is exciting. They've just changed their setup. They've moved away from the platform I was using before, moved to a different one. So it's a bit of a learning curve, but really exciting. And it's going to be such an exciting thing and a fulfilling thing, satisfying to finally get that book out there. So I hope you guys are all sort of gradually coming back to the real world, coming back from your holidays, from your lovely summers. The weather hasn't been great here in the UK. I do like to give a bit of a weather update, but you know, it's actually quite nice. I'm wearing a jumper for the first time the other day, had to wear a jacket and trainers, and oh my goodness, it was raining all day on Sunday. Wasn't particularly nice, but I think it's going to get a bit nicer again in the next few days. So there you go, there's your forecast. It's going to be sunny, not quite as hot as it's been during the summer, but still quite a nice few days, hopefully, over the next few days. So I thought I'd keep this evening quite short, since again, we're still very much sort of getting into the swing of things. We're going to finish up on imposter syndrome, and then we're going to get much more concrete, sort of starting a new chapter for the last, I still don't know what the last, it's not quarter, what is it when it's 4 months? What do you call that? The last third of the year. If anyone knows the official term of that time period, then by all means let me know. So September, October, November, December, back to school, the first semester term, as we call it here in England. Michaelmas, we called it at university. I don't know what they're calling it these days, but this last part of the year, I'm really keen to, for myself as well, this is important, to get a head start on 2019, to really set us all up for success, get the structures in place, you know, get our health back on track if that's an issue, start to look at our money situations, review our goals from the beginning of 2018, all that stuff that we usually wait to do until the end of December and January. And we will certainly do something then too, because that's another important milestone in the year. But certainly I think certainly I would like to really get that head start this year, and hoping you guys will follow along with me as well. So again, I want to introduce myself in case this is your first live this evening. If you do come live, or of course you can always watch the replay. I would love to have more of you on the live. I know a lot of you are watching the replays, which is great. I know the time doesn't work for all of you, but I'm hoping, you know, more and more of you can join. It's such a great dynamic when we can get you all on. You can ask your questions live. That is why I'm here for you here every week, more or less. And you can also see what the other people in the group are asking and so on. So it's a really good opportunity. I want to say welcome as ever to the new members in the group. Again, this is my weekly live, 8 o'clock, more or less every week here in the group. I'm on here every day as well, popping in, sometimes doing a live, just giving an update, dropping my latest articles, resources, asking questions, and of course, please do the same. You can message me at any point, private message, or just comment with any questions or ideas or requests that you have in the group. You'll also see Sophia Reinchin, who is my fantastic marketing support, who is inviting you all into the group and posting and sharing as well. So do please interact with her as well. I will say who I am, just in case you are new again. Hopefully you know who I am and you're trusting me to be part of this community, but my name is Anna Lundberg and I'm the founder of One Step Outside. And this community is all about taking that one step outside your comfort zone. Specifically this year, and at the moment, we're looking a lot at escaping the corporate 9 to 5 and setting up the freedom, flexibility and fulfillment in your life. And the reason for that is, well, it's why we're here really. It's what I've experienced in the last 5 years since I left my corporate job in 2013. And my book is coming out on the 3rd of October, Leaving the Corporate 9 to 5. And it's 50 stories of people who've done exactly that. They've left the corporate structure and either changed to a different sector or gone freelance in their work, started a business, created a portfolio career, which is some combination of those things, or, and I've added an extra section now, taken a leap of faith, because some people have and continue to take that leap even when they don't exactly know what's going to happen next, which is what I did actually. So pretty exciting, not always the right thing to do, but certainly some really inspiring stories there. In conjunction with the book launch next month, we're also going to have another challenge here in the group. So all about helping you to find, refine, decide on your business idea to be able to move forwards. This is going to be great for you, whether it's a side hustle that you're just getting started alongside a full-time job, maybe you've already got an idea and you're just not sure if it's the right one to move forwards with, or in fact, if you're a bit further along, you just want to sort of go back to basics and make sure this is really set up to work for you and your particular situation and your goals really for your life. So that's coming up. And then after that, I am opening up my group program, One Step Outside the 9 to 5, for the 3rd time this year, which is really exciting, opening the doors to a 3rd cohort. And it's a 6-month program that will really take you through step by step, from deciding on what you want to do, big picture, overcoming a lot of those limiting beliefs and things like imposter syndrome, good girl syndrome, achiever syndrome, all those syndromes that I'm always talking about. They're not really official syndromes, I've just made these up, but you know, they're certainly things I've experienced, and I think a lot of you have too. Working through the business strategy, planning, tactics, and really implementing that as well. So of course there'll be lots more information about that coming up, but again, don't hesitate to private message me if you have any questions about that. I will go straight in and just talk through really 3 key points, and I will keep it really short and simple. I want to keep these shorter, I think, going forwards, just to make sure that you guys, you know, I'm making the most of the time you have. I know everyone's really busy. So last week, if you haven't watched the video or read the post, then by all means go back and check that. I shared an article, which is where the academics had actually defined or come up with this idea of imposter syndrome. Thanks so much to everybody who was responding to that. It's been popular, or very certainly an important topic that people have been engaging on LinkedIn as well, which is great. Unfortunately, it sounds like it's something a lot of us experiencing, but great that we're sort of openly talking about it, and that's a really good opportunity to raise our awareness, recognize that it does happen, we're not alone, and then of course this week we're looking at how you can go about addressing that. So quite briefly, the first step I want to talk about, and it's no surprise because this is what I always talk about, it's always my first step, it is to define what success looks for you. And let me tell you a little bit about why that is so important in this context. I think imposter syndrome, and if again we go back to last week in terms of the definition, we're trying to prove how smart we are to other people, we don't think we're good enough, you know, we don't deserve to be here, we don't belong, and so on. And the question you have to ask yourself is, what is good enough? Who gets to decide that? Who decides if you belong or if you deserve to be here? What measuring stick are you actually using to define, you know, whether you belong here, whether you deserve, and all those things again? And I think more often than not, we're projecting this idea of success and what we should be doing and should be able to do and so on. We're actually doing other people a disservice, I think, thinking about it, because we're really projecting quite a negative, sort of judgmental image onto other people. And we have no idea if that's what they're thinking. This is all about us, right? It's not about them. It's about our own insecurities and doubts and mindsets and so on. And so we're really sort of projecting what we think they think, and then that's sort of a very vicious cycle, and we end up trying to please some people definition that aren't really meaningful to us and aren't really even true, and then we end up in this very uncomfortable place where we're sort of constantly looking over our shoulder, and we feel very anxious and insecure where we are. So the first step really has to be in stripping all that away and thinking, hang on a second, what's important to me? So, you know, bringing this to the context of an entrepreneur, is it important to me to get those 6 figures in 6 weeks and have the jet and the glossy images of Oprah and Tony Robbins and all these things that everyone has, laptop on the beach and so on? Is that important? If so, I would encourage you to break that down and really understand why that's important to you. For most of us, I think that's not so important. And actually, I want to share an anecdote from Sabine, who I interviewed yesterday, and she will be part of the book. So you'll get the full story in just a few weeks. So it's a last-minute addition to the book, but a great story about how she left Procter & Gamble, where I was working as well, and has gradually sort of set up her health coaching business, which is very far from her cookie monster existence before. But she was talking about how when she started being an entrepreneur, her mindset was very much, okay, these are my financials and these are the number of clients I need and so on. And then it was her husband, who was very sweet and supportive the whole time, and who was saying to her, oh, but Sabine, I'm so jealous of you. All these clients are coming to you and saying, wow, you've changed my life. You've impacted this. I had life before Sabine and now I have life after Sabine. It's amazing. And that's something he just didn't experience in his job. And it's certainly something that Sabine and I didn't experience in our marketing jobs either. So she's begun to sort of reframe and actually think, hang on, okay, maybe I wasn't, or maybe I'm not making this particular target in terms of sales or clients or whatever it was initially, but actually I'm changing. Even if I change that one person's life, right, that then has repercussions on their partner, their children, and so on. So often I think we worry that, oh, there's only 100 people in this group and only 5 clients are buying instead of the 10 I was hoping. But hang on, if we can actually change the lives, transform the lives of those 5 people, that's a pretty amazing thing. And even one person as well. I do see a couple of people popping on and popping off, so do say hi if you're joining live. It would be great to see you. I'm going to keep this quite short today, so I'm just going through sort of the 3 ideas I have around overcoming imposter syndrome, and I was sharing an anecdote there about redefining what success looks like in your business. And it's interesting, I was thinking about this today because I was thinking of sort of my conventional path that I was following before that was pretty sort of successful on paper in terms of, I did very well at school. I went to Oxford University. I actually got into Harvard as well in the US, which I forget about sometimes. I did early action. I would have loved to go there. I really wanted to go to America and do the whole liberal arts and go to, do they have prom at university? I don't even know, but that sounded amazing to me. And I remember I got a letter saying that, you've all been top 1% of your school. And actually, when you come to Harvard or Oxford or any other probably great company or situation, you're 99% of you are no longer going to be in the top 1%, if that makes sense. So we're all the top. And suddenly, because you bring all the top together, the majority of you are no longer going to be top. And I think that's a massive crash for a lot of people to experience. But anyway, I had that at Oxford, and then I had Procter & Gamble, where I had no experience of marketing or consumer goods or any of these things. But bizarrely throughout this, and I think it's because I was young, you guys tell me differently if you think it's not related to age, but I think I was just really confident and actually innocent and naive and ignorant of the context of where I was. Procter & Gamble, for example, a fantastic marketing company. People would kill to get there, as I later discovered. I had no idea who they were, and I was just kind of swanning in. Same thing, I have to admit, for the Oxford application process. We had to do the essays and so on, as we have to do in the UK, but I also had an interview process. And because I'd taken a gap year, so I took a year out after school before going to university, I was pretty confident and chilled. I was on holiday, basically. I had my results already. I wasn't even particularly attached to the idea of going to Oxford, which is maybe a bad thing looking back. And I think that really gave me that kind of calm and centeredness to be myself and then to perform quite well. So again, just sort of looking at the confidence that we had maybe 10, 15 years ago, and where has that gone? Fast forward to now, and this is going to be the second step, we have so many more skills and developed strengths and confidence that we should have. So what on earth is leading us to have this imposter syndrome now when, 15 years ago when I started at P&G, I had no knowledge or skills or experience or maturity at all. And I thought I was, going to take over the world, and I was the best thing that can happen to any company. So it's just interesting how our perspective shifts. So number 1, define what success looks like for you, not for other people. The second thing is actually some more concrete things. And I was hinting there at the fact that, we've developed all these skills. And I think, and again, Sabine, who was interviewing yesterday, said something similar. And in these companies, we have these whole teams. We have a sales team, we've got agencies and the whole supply chain, and we've got all these people around us and the structures and systems and processes. Suddenly, as an entrepreneur, oh, by the way, we also have lots of training, and we have bosses telling us what to do, and we have lots of mentors and senior people in the organization who we can talk to and get advice and guidance from. When we start in our own businesses, we have none of that. So not only are we starting from scratch usually, and again, I'm talking about Sabine because it's so fresh in my head, she started a totally different industry, totally different type of role. Suddenly you're thinking, hang on, am I good enough? Why on earth would anyone work with me? Why on earth would anyone buy from me? In Sabine's case, she just did study after study after course, feeling that she needed all these sort of qualifications and certifications. She needed to know everything to be able to help her clients, which of course wasn't the case, and if anything was sort of distracting her and maybe taking up too much of her time. So again, it's just an interesting shift from that corporate, you're part of the machine, you're told what to do, you have that support system, and suddenly you're on your own, you're starting from scratch. So I think one thing to recognize is that, of course, when we're starting something new, we're not going to be great at it, and it is a learning curve, and we need to be curious, and we need to be ready to fail, and all these things that are so difficult. But that is an important sort of mindset shift, I think, in terms of, yes, okay, we've changed something, we were going in this direction on the corporate ladder, we were up here, now we've gone back, not down to zero, but we've maybe zigzagged a little bit, and that's fine. And being sort of humble about that, putting our ego to side a little bit and saying, okay, I'm going to make some mistakes. This means I need to surround myself with the right people. I need to do a course. I need to work with a coach, whatever it is, join a group, a program, and that's okay. But I think admitting or recognizing that is going to take a lot of the pressure off. And I hear that message from my coach all the time. I hear that from more and more people who are admitting that, you know what, when I first did a webinar, no one turned up. When I first tried a Facebook Live, no one turned up. When I first sold my program, I got one person buying instead of the 20 I was hoping, and so on. And the reason why they're successful is they didn't give up then, as it's very easy to do. They just kept going. So every day you show up and you write your post even though no one's going, and you do your live even though no one's turning up, and you do another webinar and you get better. People find out about you. There's a snowball effect. But there's an element of, recognizing again that you're not going to be an expert when you first start. So that's one piece. However, another piece, as I said, is that you are not starting from scratch. And I wrote an article a few months ago, I think, around, the things that you learn in a big corporation and a big consumer goods company that actually do set you up for success in terms of strategic thinking and data-driven decision-making and all these amazing things. Bringing that to the entrepreneurial context is actually incredibly effective. So that's one thing. All the transferable skills, and I think we tend to limit ourselves, unfortunately, to what happens to be on that little business card or on our CV. That's the job title. So I'm a social media manager, that's all I do. But if you dig a little bit deeper, you'll realize that you have a lot of softer skills and experiences, and what is it that you're actually doing in that role? So you're probably negotiating with suppliers, you're managing agencies, you're presenting to management, you're pitching, you're maybe copywriting, and you're project managing, I don't know. So what are all the different things that you're doing? And I think that will already build your confidence a little bit to think, hang on, I've got all these transferable skills that are absolutely relevant as an entrepreneur. Yes, there are still things to learn, but I can totally take these, I can shape my business idea, and that's what we're going to do in the Facebook challenge in about a month's time, shape my business around my skills and strengths, and make sure that I'm really leveraging that. I know it's really tempting, and I certainly went through this phase of turning your back completely on what you were doing in the past, and we want to sort of throw that out and go in a completely new direction. There is an element of that that's possible, but I do think, look at the elements of your previous roles or your current job and see, actually, these are the elements that I definitely want to throw away, but these are ones actually I've got some, in my case, 10 years of strong branding, business strategy, digital marketing experience, and I don't want to throw that away. That's something I can really sort of weave into, in my case, coaching and writing and so on. And another thing, and people have different variations of this, but connecting sort of a pile or a jar. I quite like the idea of a jar or just a folder on your computer of compliments and praise and thanks that people have written. They say, I think it's probably a made up statistic, but they say you need 5 compliments for every insult you get, or 5 positive for every 1 negative, which I can imagine is true, because, you know, when someone criticizes you, you criticize yourself, and you get that negative review or comment or troll or whatever it is. It's very easy to think, or a comment from your boss or a potential client, or who knows, some stranger who doesn't even know you. It's very easy to fixate on that and forget all the amazing things that people have said. So every time someone sends you an email, a client says, thank you so much, you've changed my life, or just, thanks, you did a great job today. We don't want to be dependent on external confirmation, but I think, that can give us a really nice little boost. Stick them up on the wall if you're not too embarrassed about people coming around and seeing that, keep it in the book or something, but try to really dip into that whenever you need a boost. That's another little piece. And then the final piece, and I mentioned a little bit already, is just getting the support system. And someone reiterated this when I was interacting on LinkedIn earlier today, and saying, get the help that you need. So I divide this into 2 pieces. One is the cheerleaders, the supporters, the people who are just going to go, woo, yes, go, and keep supporting you. They might not be able to help you in any sort of concrete way in terms of how to run your business or anything like that, but they're there for you. They believe in you. They're probably not going to be your existing or past friends and family, and that's okay. I don't want you to turn your backs on all your sort of existing friendship groups, but do by all means seek out new people. There are all those sort of cliches around you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with, and so on. So, think about who you're following online, but also the real people that you're spending time with. And it may be that you need to go out, venture out of your comfort zone, of your social circle, and find groups, physical events you can go to, conferences. The first ever event I went to was an Escape the City event in London in, I think, 2013. And the event itself was forgettable. The coach wasn't great, it was an average night. It was just an evening. What more can you do in an hour or 2? However, the 3 or 4 people I spoke to sitting around me who were feeling exactly like me, considering leaving their jobs, wanting to find something more meaningful, maybe setting up a business, that was absolutely mind-blowing for me. So supportive and really affirming that I wasn't alone, and this was something that other people were feeling, and I could actually do this. So just find those people who will reinforce, listen to podcasts, watch Facebook lives of people, and so on. And of course, I really want this Facebook group to be a part of that tribe for you. So we are here whenever you're feeling down. Post in the group. You can private message me confidentially if you prefer. Support each other. That's what we're here for. Share our insecurities, compliment each other, support each other, ask questions. That's really a great space to do that. And there are lots of other groups online, offline, and so on. And the other piece is getting the expert support that you need. So, as much as, and I talk to clients all the time about this, and I've experienced the same thing, we don't want to ask for help. We feel that we're perfectly competent and capable, thank you very much. I certainly thought, coming from a branding marketing background, I can do this, I don't need a coach, and so on. But I cannot tell you how much things have changed for me personally and in the business, having someone I'm speaking to regularly to really guide me. She's a few steps ahead of me, which is perfect. She can help me focus on the right things. She can reflect back things I'm saying, and she can actually give me concrete strategies that have worked for her. She's giving me the very latest stuff that she's now doing, strategies and tactics and so on. So much more fun, faster, and really filling the gaps that I have. I also realized a bit too late in the process that I had no sales knowledge or ability at all. So that was sort of a gap, and I've had to sort of really learn that and work hard to understand how sales is different to marketing actually. And there are different aspects to business. You could be an amazing creative, or you have some fantastic talent, you can be an artist or an amazing coach or whatever it is. You may not necessarily have the business experience, the marketing, the sales, the web development, and so on. So whether you hire an intern, you outsource to someone on Fiverr or Upwork or on a site like that, you get someone that to help you, but just recognizing, again, going back to the first point, and recognizing that there are gaps. You do need help, and that is okay. Actually, again, sorry, I'm going to throw lots of memories coming back to me. We throw this out to you again from Procter & Gamble, because when I started the first year, and this may be common to every corporation, all I heard was acronyms, and people were talking the TDC and the NOS, and now I actually can't remember half of them, but the MDOs and the GBU. And I remember this gorgeous blonde German girl who was talking. She was running sort of a business meeting that we all went to, I think a regular monthly one. And she looked like Buffy the Vampire Slayer, by the by. And she would just every month talk about all these business figures, and I had no idea what she was talking about. And did I ask anybody? No, because I thought ridiculously that you're supposed to know these things. But how on earth was I supposed to know? And as actually I tell now new hires and junior managers and so on, the first few weeks and months is the time when you can ask questions. The same for us as entrepreneurs, right? That is when you don't look stupid, because actually you're new. Of course you don't know, and people won't remember who you are anyway. So just ask, ask, ask. And then 6 months, a year later, then you know what you're talking about, and then you can actually do the real stuff. If you don't know what you're talking about a year and a half, 2 years later, that's when you look stupid. So I think asking the questions, getting the help you need, and, you know, not waiting for your manager to come and give you a training, because that doesn't happen as an entrepreneur. You have to every year think of what you're going to invest in terms of concrete skills and courses, or even, again, you know, softer things like reading books and so on. So just a final sort of piece on finding that tribe for the support, but also recognizing that you have certain gaps. Don't fall into the trap of investing in a 4-year MBA to fill all these gaps. You know, you can very easily do shorter, you know, free courses to some extent, and certainly get some free support, but then invest in some kind of program. But, you know, we do need to invest in order to sort of reap the rewards, I suppose, coming out. And certainly that's been my experience. So I'm going to stop there. I have managed to babble on for half an hour, even though I said I would keep this shorter today. Thank you so much. Whoever's been watching live, it's really great to have you. And those of you who have been watching the replay, I'd love to hear from you as well. Do let me know if any of this helps. If you have any questions, if you have any ideas or different perspectives to share, maybe a particular situation. Again, if you prefer, you can private message me. That's absolutely fine. In the meantime, as I said, we're going to be shifting gears a little bit next week. We're going back to school for September. Yes, it is September next week. And we will be literally looking at how we can sort of surf on the wave of this back to school season. We've got these last 4 months of 2018. So let's kind of get things back on track. Look at the goals we had for this year. Think now is the time to do it. There is still time to get amazing results in your business, to set up your business, to leave your job, to write your book, whatever it is you're looking at, to get your health in shape. I'm doing a 6-week fitness thing at the moment, which I'll tell you later how it goes, but certainly it started off well. But whatever your goals, we'll start looking at that next week, and then we'll sort of have our countdown and towards the book and the program and all these things that I keep talking about. So can't wait to share all this with you. As ever, please let me know if you have any questions or requests for content that you want, any training, any topics at all that you want me to cover. I'd love to hear from you. So thanks so much for joining, and I can't wait to see you soon in the group. And by the way, don't forget, I did post about this. If you know someone else who is thinking about starting a business, who's unhappy in their corporate job, who's looking to sort of find that better work-life balance, I don't like that phrase, but you know what I mean. I'd love for you to invite them into the group. And we'd love to get sort of more people in here to help more people on this journey. And there'll be lots of fun things going on in the next few weeks and months. I'd love to have you guys bring in your friends as well, so we can help them too. So thank you so much in advance, and yeah, see you very soon. Bye for now, and have a good evening.